Deciduous trees. Such a sign of beauty in the way that nature works and the way that things take care of themselves. Within nature, that is true. When it comes to houses, though, they do kind of require a little bit of input. Now, as a young bloke, I dreamed of living in a house with a circular driveway, and I didn't ever realise that it would be so within the reach of, well, me, you, and anyone else who sees fit to take it on here at this property. Yes, this is 7 Dural Way in Armidale. Has a circular drive, and look, I'm harping on about it a little bit because I do really want to stay out here for as long as I can. But anyway, we're going to take a big deep breath, and we're going to go and see what's going on here at 7 Dural Way in Armidale. I'm going to tell you one thing. It's a double brick and tile house. The tile part is the roof. The brick part is the walls. And let's go and see what we've got going on here. Now, I'm going to just make a couple of adjustments to the camera here because it's a little dark, both physically and spiritually. All right, let's have a look at what's happening here. So we do have a beautiful tiled entrance that leads into this. We've got, that's handy, gloves. Okay, probably should have done that first. I'm going to keep the door open, and I'm pushing that open for two reasons. Firstly, obviously, so that we've got as much light as possible, and secondly, so that if I have to make a run for it, I do have an exit. You've got to have the exit strategy here. I'm going to put this shovel, or this spade, sorry. Trust a real estate agent to call a spade a shovel. I am going to put this spade here just to hold that open. Rightio, here we go. Suede effects. That is the texture that's been used on that wall. You might want to change that at some stage. It is a brick wall. Now, I could knock on that using my fingers, but I don't have those hybrid gloves on, so I'll do that for you. Yes, it's double brick. It's a brick wall. Now, we have a couple of things going on here. Firstly, the kitchen is in a state of, well, the dishes have been done. Now, I've sold a lot of houses like this over the years where nobody's even done the dishes, but here there's not a plate in sight. Well, certainly not intact. There's some, I'd say maybe some have been broken. But anyway, we've got what we've got, so we'll work with that. And look, you could probably just, I'd say probably replace it. I don't think try and salvage anything. We have a tile roof as evidenced as we look upwards and see the tile roof that is right where there has been some termite activity. And it was like, when I say activity, I mean like they partied. They partied pretty hard. It was like a feast, you know? Days and days of everyone gorging themselves on roof beams. But we've got a structural report that talks about what's going on there, and we'll have some more information for you on all of that. Folks, of course, it kind of goes without saying, this is an as-is, where-is sale. What you see is what you get, and gosh, who knows what you're going to get. But like, before you go, is it even legal for you to sell a house like that? Yes, it is. Now, I'm just going to give you as many disclosures as I can. We do not know what on earth happened here, and some of these things may not, in fact, be on earth. It may be in a deeper, sort of darker spiritual realm that they happened. But either way, we don't know what on earth is going on. Things like that happened, which, you don't even have to patch it. The good thing about it is you can just replace it. Probably where the cleanest bit of carpet is too. So there's always a silver lining to every dark, dark cloud. The bedroom, there's some gravel in here. Now, it's the sort of gravel that you find in like a hydroponic setup, which is interesting because there's like a bit of alfoil there too. Yeah, I wonder, they may have, you never know. There could have been some sort of like an aquaponics setup or something like that in there, because leafy greens grow well in a wardrobe. Peter Brock. To be honest, even he looks a little disapproving. He's probably seen some stuff, old Brocky. I reckon he has. Okay, so bedroom number... It doesn't really matter, does it? This is a second bedroom. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. And here's what we've got. So no damage to the door in this one because there is no door. Didn't realise quite how bright that had gotten. There we go. We've got a lot more light in this room. So, yeah, there's no door on this one. Doesn't mean it's not a bedroom, though. You could still have a sleep in there. That's the toilet. Yep. I do appreciate the fact that there has been some attempt to maintain hygiene standards with, I wonder if it's domestic grade or hospital. Yeah, it's hospital grade disinfectant. There you go. Safe as houses, but unfortunately like safe as this house, which is not that safe. Okay, so bedroom number 3, as I crank the brightness here, even still, that is a mountain of insulation. Now that can be traced back to the ceiling. Now the ceiling traditionally would be up here, attached via, screws and glues to the roof structure. But in this case, it is deconstructed and is currently on the floor. And we've got this fluffy fun time down here with all the insulation. But it's one less job for you to knock it down because it's already down. That is whether or not somebody was sleeping vertically or whether or not that mattress was holding something up, I do not know. But again, like everything else here, that comes with the property. Yeah, who knows what you're going to find in there. This is the bathroom. Obviously, a good spot for keeping your remote control car, and obviously, you probably put a shower head on there if you were having a shower. Yep. And then we appear to have had some termite activity in here as well, because termites, they like to keep it clean. And vanity, all is vanity. Yeah, sort of on the low end of vain practice. We've got evidently some water leaks, etc., that have happened as a result of that issue over on the other side with the termites, which is on the wall behind this. All right, so there's all of that. Having said all of this, right, the layout is actually pretty darn good because you've got good living space there. You've got all of this, which works really well. 3 bedrooms and a bathroom, and the laundry over here. That leads through to this space, which is actually pretty reasonable. I mean, like, not at the moment. It's a pretty reasonable idea. How about that? So obviously the sale includes all the window treatments, and there's curtains in here, so that's lovely. It's all fixed floor coverings, window treatments and light fittings as inspected, as well as more gravel over here. What is that? It's not gravel, is it? It's like a clay ball of some description. Anyway, you'll have a ball trying to clean it up. And a bowling ball too. Check that out. If you decide to knock it down, you're halfway there. Rightio. So we've got that. And in here, quite classy, the open fireplace, which is tremendous for, setting a nice ambient mood as you relax at the end of a long day of wardrobe gardening, presumably. Now, in the real estate game, we like to talk about that whole indoor-outdoor kind of living, and this is the definition of indoor-outdoor. We have a door that is half in and half out, depending on how you view things. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so I reckon, well, even then I don't know which one is the best way to describe it. Hope I don't do any damage to it as I step over it there. All right, so out here we have all that, which is great. So you've got you you've got all of that, which is really handy if you need any of those things. And again, when we look at the structural side of things, the brickwork seems to be in pretty good order. And that is one of the main things of having a house is the walls. Alex, it appears we've stepped over some... yes, there was evidently a pet here. Got to come out that way. All right, so out the back, we have very decent space. Now, if you jump on the website for the City of Armidale, you'll find this block is zoned R15/25, which, being more than 700 square metres, actually has some potential for subdivision. Now, you're going to have a bobcat here anyway at some stage, I would assume, as I walk through this mountain of collectibles, and assume that you'd be getting rid of some of them, probably using a bobcat, because, you know, it's more than a man and a shovel or a spade or whatever he happens to find in the doorway. So, yeah, you got to work with what you got to work with, but some potential for that. Am I saying you can? No, I'm not. Am I saying you can anything on this? No, I'm not. But there is potential with a block that size to subdivide. So I'll leave you to suss that out. Now, I want to go back inside, and rather than going through the same mountain of crap that I had to walk through a moment ago, I'm going to walk around this way and find some... Oh, look at that! Some more of it. We're back round to the start. So, obviously, that's something to work with. And out the front, more to work with. But when you strip it back, we've got a brick and tile home on over 700 square metres of land that I think is fixable. Now, I don't want this being one of those ones where they're like, awful real estate agent says first home buyers have to put up with this as their first thing. I didn't say that, okay? I'm just saying that if you've got the gumption, if you've got the guts, if you've got the ability, this is not a bad way to start, folks. It's really not a bad way to start. Yes, of course, there's a lot of work. I'm not denying that there's a lot of work. Yes, it's filthy and disgusting. I'm not denying it's filthy and disgusting. Yes, it would probably, it would probably take more than a couple of weekends. But, there's I hear a lot of people going, oh, boomers have made it so hard. Well, guess what? If you want the generation 40 years from now to be accusing you of having all the money, then this is probably not the worst thing in the world for you to buy. And if you put in your own effort and put in your own time into doing this, well, then you may well come out with all of the, you won't be a boomer, but they'll hate you just as much. And that's a good sign, because it means you've done quite well if that happens. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good insight as to just what is happening here at 7 Dural Way in Armidale. If you reckon you've got the skills to make it into something, I am right behind you. And I hope that we can see some great things happen here as a result of your efforts. If not, and you can see that there has been effort made, but it's not like effort, it's more like effort. It's going to take someone who goes, effort, I can do it, rather than effort, I can't be bothered. Anyway, that should give you some idea as to what's happening here. I look forward to showing you around. Cheers.